Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new series I'm starting here on this channel. I thought I might as well take advantage of the lockdown, dig out the old YouTube and start to bring back some regular content for anybody who's interested. Hopefully you will enjoy what you hear today and will join me along for the ride. So this series in particular, what I'm looking to bring is a podcast style with a little bit of gameplay, whether it be directly related, indirectly related, or entirely unrelated, just in the background, something to watch along, something to hopefully enjoy, or maybe enlighten you on a new game, or whatever it may be. So, as I say, this series is going to be quite podcast style. There's a lot of things still going on, and one of the things to know about myself is I wanted to be a sports journalist. Unfortunately, getting into that industry is incredibly challenging, and so whatever we can do freelance and whatever we can do to scratch that itch of journalism or providing sports analysis, and it's something we all do in our daily lives. Sport is for the people. In its purest form, what do we spend our lives doing? Whether it's on social media, we're discussing our sports teams, our sports interests, we're criticising laws, rules, gameplay, managerial decisions. I think that's one thing probably people are missing most. Certainly myself, is the post-match in the pub, talking about what one manager got wrong, what one manager got right. What players were good, what players were bad, what refereeing decisions especially impacted the outcomes of the game the most. As I was saying, I hope you can join me on this ride. I mean, who knows what's to come, who knows what I'll bring to this channel. I'm looking to do a lot more gameplay content. A lot of these podcasts, and why do I want to do these podcasts? I want to do these podcasts so that people have something to talk about, so that people have something to interact with. I mean, that's, like I said, that's what we thrive on as sports fans, whatever your sport is. This isn't just going to be linked to football. I'm going to be bringing baseball into this, I'm going to be bringing American football, basketball, cricket, whatever. I love sport, and I love a lot of different sports, and I'm going to encompass as many of them as I possibly can into these podcasts. If something breaks in a sporting world, and apologies, pardon me, and it's not my field, I'm going to look it up, I'm going to research it, and because it gives you guys a platform to debate things in the comments. That's what I want to see. I want to see discussion in the comments. I want to see debate. If you like the topics I'm talking about and you like this podcast style, please like the video, subscribe for more. I'm going to be trying to bring out at least once every 2 days, and we've not got much else to do in these lockdown times. Again, vastly important that we all stay inside and we all respect the guidelines set out by our respective countries and our governments. Some people aren't allowed to go outside. We in the UK are lucky that we can still go to the shop, but there are still far too many people disrespecting the regulations. I'm not going to start a campaign. I just want everyone to follow the guidelines, do what we can to stay safe in these times, and the sooner we control the spread of COVID-19, the sooner we can get back to watching sport, and the Saturdays that we love, or the Sundays that we love, or whatever gameplay it is. Now, as you see if you're watching the video, if you're not, it's not a big deal, but turn your attention to it. There's a penalty. This video today is on the brand new IFAB laws. Thanks for sticking with me through the introduction. It's time to get into the important bit. So, one of the new laws that IFAB introduced, they had a meeting in Belfast on the 1st of February. These laws come into play on the 1st of July. I'm going to pause the gameplay just so that it doesn't automatically take the penalty. Just why I talk about this, because penalties are important. That's why I say, interestingly enough, it comes up in this video. Just a little FIFA gameplay I've got in the background. When it comes to a penalty, there is a change in the rules slightly in goalkeepers coming off the lines. It's something that we have seen. It's always been a thing, but it's something that's been highlighted, especially with the VAR coming into the major leagues, is goalkeepers do tend to take a step forward just to give themselves a bit of a shorter distance to save the penalty. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but ultimately if a goalkeeper comes off his line and the penalty is missed and the penalty is saved especially, then well, how it used to be, it was saved or missed, the penalty would be retaken. Now if the penalty is saved, the penalty will be retaken. If the penalty is missed, it will not be retaken. But also, if the goalkeeper encroaches or comes off his line once, he will get a warning. If he does it again, he will get a yellow card. The likelihood of this happening is highly unlikely, because there's not too many games where we... Oh, wow. There's not too many games where we get 2-3 penalties in a game, so the opportunities for that to happen are highly unlikely, but it's just IFAB going out of their way to clarify pretty much the directive of the new laws that have come in, which aren't many, they aren't drastic, unlike last year where we had the change to the handball rule. They've sort of just been designed to create less surrounding the goalkeeper, less pressure on the goalkeeper in-game. So what are the new rules? Obviously we've mentioned the encroachment, the goalkeepers coming off the line, and there's 2 more new rules in place. The first is the definition of handball. It's been tweaked again slightly. What IFAB have done is they have clarified if the ball touches under the armpit, that is now classed as handball. So I think what that means is we will see an end to the Firmino being offside by his armpit on the VAR. I think we'll see an end to if the ball hits sort of on the side of the body. I think they've got a more clear judging point as to if it's handball or if it's not. Again, it's still... it could have been worked on better. They have tweaked the accidental handball slightly. We see moments this season where players have handled a ball and there's been 30-40 seconds of build-up and then the ball's gone in and the goal's been ruled out from them looking all the way back on VAR. That's now going to change. If a player accidentally handles the ball in the build-up and it directly leads to a goal or a goal-scoring opportunity, then that goal is ruled out. But if, say, there's 4 or 5 touches in the build-up, 3 or 4 passes, then it's accidental handball, it's not going to be chalked off. And so I think there's a bit more balance to handballs, because previously the rules were like a defender could accidentally handball it and it's not handball, but an attacker can accidentally handball it and it is handball, which was massively weighted in favour of one side and ruled out some perfectly reasonable goals. And the other change is with VAR itself. It's not a drastic change by any means, but they are not insisting, but strongly encouraging that all referees use the pitch side monitors. I think that's a direct Targeting of the Premier League's initiatives with VAR. I don't think anyone's going to argue that the referees not going to the monitors is helping. I think the problem with the Premier League is you have a referee refereeing the game, and you have a referee refereeing the VAR. Now, it's pretty well known that some referees have egos. Some referees view things different to others, and not all the referees get along with each other. I think that was picked up on by Howard Webb in his autobiography. And I think the problem with that is, say if Mike Dean's on the VAR and we got Simon Hooper refereeing the game, much like he's refereeing this one. I completely drew a blank to all Premier League referees then for a moment. Say if that's the case, and a decision's made by Hooper to give a penalty, and and they're checking whether it's a possible red card. In fact, let's just take it away from the penalty situation entirely. It's a possible red card. Now, say 2 weeks before, the system was the opposite, and Hooper decided that Mike Dean had given a yellow card, and it was actually a red. He can then sort of be like, well, no, it's a red from what we've seen. Mike Dean probably didn't like that he got told that he got it wrong, so he's gonna do the opposite, put it in the back. I'm not saying this is what happens, but I'm saying it could, and I just don't like the idea, especially when refereeing a game on the pitch is so different to watching it on a screen and interpreting it there. I think we need 10, maybe more, trained VAR officials, trained in the use of the equipment, trained in viewing the game electronically, trained in the rules, the regulations, knowing VAR word for word, and it would put less strain on the referees as well, because they're not then having to do 2 games a day, 2 games a weekend, and all this, that and the other, and bouncing between on pitch and off pitch. I don't see why you can't take an upcoming crop of referees from the Football League and give them specialised VAR training. But for now, we'll have to deal with actually getting the referees to go and look at the screens, which is a relief, because I think some decisions have been better made. I think the Son sending off when Andre Gomes broke his leg, I think that was entirely down to, they've seen on the camera, oh, he's broke his leg, we better send him off. That was a yellow card. Every day of the week, that was a yellow card. Again, I think Harry Maguire with the kick to Rudiger's unmentionables. I think if the referee in question had gone and looked at the screen, I think he sees quite clearly, well, actually, he's had a nibble there. I think the problem is when you've got to tell a VAR official what you've seen and they've got to interpret it based on that, it's hard for them to interpret the way you would, because they're a different person with a different way of looking at it, and I think that's caused issues. I think we've seen that, and undoubtedly VAR is going to be changed by the Premier League as well, how they implement it, how they use it. I think going to the monitors had to be done, and I think we just need a better explanation to the fans as how it worked, because I know this season it was done differently to how most European leagues do it. and how the World Cup did it and other such tournaments. Now the problem with that is everybody's seen how it's worked in a major tournament and think it's the same. I didn't see anywhere where Premier League fans got a proper explanation as to how it worked, other than on a debate special on Sky Sports News. The problem is, if you hadn't watched that debate special, you wouldn't have had a clue. Because I remember talking with several people about how it's interpreted this way or that way, and they were like, that's not how VAR works. And I was like, that's not how VAR works in Europe, it's how VAR works here. Nobody knew because it wasn't thoroughly explained. And I think as fans we deserve that thorough explanation. I think putting up a message on a scoreboard helps, but it doesn't necessarily clarify the situation. A lot of people have suggested, and I'm sure a lot of other people will go on to suggest, miking up the referees like in rugby or like they do in the NFL, where they turn the headset on to explain the decision. Great idea. Problem with that is FIFA have come out and said all VAR discussions are to remain private. They, in no certain terms, they do not want these conversations broadcast. They do not want any influence. And I mean, that's completely understandable that the decisions should be private, but maybe that idea of the NFL system isn't too bad, where the referee, he makes his signal, turns his mic on and say, handball in the build-up, no goal, play on. Or maybe some more inventive hand signals. I'm not on about going into interpretive dance, but there's a symbol for handball, there's a symbol for high boot, there's a symbol for substitution, there's a symbol for that, and the other. So why can't we have symbols that show the reason why he's ruled something out, rather than just doing the box and then pointing to the ground or pointing towards the halfway line? We need clarity, and I think we deserve that as football fans. VAR was designed to take human error out of the game, but it's still led to issues. And of course, as humans operate the system, there's always going to be an element of human error. We can't deny that it's reduced the error, but in some cases where decisions can be interpreted, because the rules are ambiguous, some would argue it's a detriment to the game. And with the waiting times, when the referee's just stood there with his hands to his ears as the players gather around him and look around because they don't know what's going on, and it almost looks like the referee doesn't know what's going on. But we can't have games where we've got 6-7 minutes injury time every half. It just can't be done. So I think going to the monitor is a great idea. I think the handball clarification, it's going to be interesting to see how that comes into play. It doesn't hit underneath the arm too often, and where's the end of the armpit? Surely that's open to interpretation as well. But all of these rules come active as of the 1st of July, the start of the new footballing season. We'll see what they do then. Thank you for joining us. I hope you'll join me again next time I release one of these podcasts. Hope you've enjoyed it. Any tips on how to improve these, please leave them in the comments. Any comments on what has been said, on the rules, your views, your opinion, your analysis, that's what these are all about. These podcasts are here to sort of replace that old pub chat about this, that and the other that happened in sport. We can't go down to the pub at the minute, so we can come online. We can talk about it there, we can say our opinions and our views, and we can discuss them together. So please leave opinions in the comments. Please leave suggestions for other topics you want me to talk about as well. I'm always up for discussing new things. I've got a few videos planned. We've got Harry Kane's potential Manchester United transfer. I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to do a video explaining the NFL ahead of the NFL season. Hopefully we get one. I'm going to do a video explaining the new rules regarding pitches in baseball, and I'll broaden that out in case anyone's new to baseball, wants to learn baseball. I'll explain the whole pitching dynamic and how that works. And I'm sure we'll get round to many other topics coming up. So thank you, that's all for today. Stay safe. Look forward to hearing from everybody again soon.